Okay, I'm going to be answering the second question of the head coach's questions. I'll read the question out just so you guys know exactly which one I'm doing. A new policy has been implemented that increases customer service value and provides more opportunities for interdepartment communication and training development. With the new policy, the amount of hours available for personal fitness training in shift hours are decreased. How would you approach the new policy with your team? If they showed resistance, how would you handle the situation? Well, first and foremost, I would like to just have all the information from the management team who are imposing the new policy. I would never want to go into a meeting with my team and present half a book of information where they've just got mountains and mountains of questions to ask how this policy can either benefit them or what else it takes away from them. So first and foremost, I'd just like to be completely on board with the new policy presented by management as well. I think that's a very important thing. If I'm not convinced that the new policy is going to benefit the team, then obviously it's going to be harder for me to discuss the policy change with my team when I don't agree with it as well. So first and foremost, I'd like to have all the information possible between me and management, and I'd like to be on board with the new policy and be able to make suggestions as well if I feel there's anything that needs changing before I approach my staff. With approaching the staff, bearing in mind the new policy has been well thought out and is going to benefit all, I would probably bring it up in a team meeting and just discuss all the benefits and the positives that this change is going to bring to the coaches. Stated that we have more training development for the coaches as well as customer service. Those are very positive things that we should be always looking to enforce in the gym and get going. We want the best for our members and we want to help develop the coaches. With the change in training hours during shift, to me this should not be an issue. We're not asking for any more work, it's only affecting specifically on shift hours. We have all the time in the world in the morning. We have every morning, and before realistically 12 o'clock to train if a coach should feel they need to. If I had resistance toward this, I think the most important thing would just obviously again to just be reinforcing those positives of how a coach can benefit from this new policy. And if it is really an issue, I know we have coaches here who are just here to compete and who are here just to improve their athletic ability. And so in a later date, it might be a case of just trying to reschedule coaching hours just so that they might have 1 hour or two extra in the day free to train. If it's, if they need it, if they really need it, and we can work around it. But I think, again, I would reinforce that every coach here signed a contract knowing that work comes first. As long as the new policy doesn't breach the contract, there's no reason why there shouldn't be any friction between coaches, staff, and management. Following on from that, if I continue to have friction from or resistance from staff about the change in policy, I think a good way just to kind of see that you are taking into account their feelings as well as obviously trying to bridge the gap into this new policy. Another good way of bridging that gap was just say, hey, coaches, let's just try it out for a month. Let's see if you benefit from it, and if you can still come up with X amount of reasons why we're not benefiting, or that it's this restricted hours in the day that's been taken from your shift is really a problem, then again we can maybe talk about it at a later date. But I think one of the positive things you can take from that is, hey, try it out for a month, and if you're still not happy, then fine, we can talk about it again. But you can't knock something until you've tried it, and I think most people should be, are here with an open mind towards those things. We're always looking to develop as coaches, and we always say we want workshops, this, that and the other. And if we can actually, find something that we are benefiting from, then, we're all in the right place, I think. So I think that'll be the way to deal with it. Yep. What would a good coach do to build team spirit within their coaching staff? Build team spirit with other departments, build team spirit with other facilities, or build team spirit between staff and members. I've actually had quite a lot of thought about this, whether or not I get a head coach or not. I have a lot of ideas about building team spirit. The first one is actually during our breakout sessions. I think it'd be nice just to take for a couple of weeks kind of presence and attitude kind of take on the breakout sessions. We've been doing a lot of movements recently, and I feel most coaches know how to do that, but sometimes we lack just that energy and attitude and presence, things like this, and confidence within a session. to have a bit of fun with the members and joke around a bit, especially and as well between staff during some members during the classes when it's obviously appropriate. So it'd be nice to kind of go into attitude and presence within the session. More specifically, I'd like we used to play an innuendo game back at home, and when you're at the board, just as coaching staff, obviously, you run through the board what the workout is for the day, and you have to try and fit as many innuendos in there as possible, whether it's a dodgy movement, something that looks stupid, silly. Things like this, just in our coaches' meetings, is a good way just to get people feeling a little looser before they go on with their teaching days. It gets the staff just a little bit out of their shell as well. If they if there's any staff that find it difficult to be themselves within sessions, it's a nice little loosener. So that's my first one. Days and trips out. I feel like we haven't really done that since I've been here. I remember looking on Instagram prior to me coming out here, and it was there was boat trips and things like this, and we haven't really done anything like that since. There's been, I know Diego and I've always been going, let's go paintballing, let's get the team to go paintballing. I think something as challenging as paintballing, where it's one, it's going to hurt, two, it can be a group and team building kind of exercise. It can be quite horrific. Once you go through something horrific with someone, you automatically become closer. I think challenging things like that, emphasis unity and bring groups together, that'll be a really good one, and it's a great way of getting other facilities involved. We don't see the borough a lot, or the staff, or the yoga staff, so that could be a really good one. Just days out and trips, things like this. In-house events, fancy dress. I'd love to see a coach's fancy dress day, with a theme or something like this. Just for, again, even just for the members to have something fun to come to the gym with and go, look at Coach Adam or Coach whoever, Coach Mark, and seeing he's in a pink wig and some lip shorts, something like that would be nice and fun. Charity events, individual charity events as well, not just ones run by CPCF. Last year I did a 24-hour row, and that brought loads of unity together. Had people who I hadn't spoken to for 5 years coming and sponsoring me and coming to see me on the day, just to say hello, how have you been, and hope you're doing well. I think just it would be nice just for some coaches just to be like, hey, I'm going to go do this for charity because, or something like that. Just a nice little idea. And finally, another thing is what I'd really love to see is an awards night. I want to see an awards night for members, coaches. I know we've got a lot of members, and it would be hard to hire out a venue. I'm sure we can figure something out, whether it's in-house as well or outside, but just an awards night would be great. You could have coaches being voted but via the members, and then obviously we can vote on certain members in our staff meetings for different and specific awards. You've got person who makes the most noise during a workout, sort of thing, best coach, most aggressive coach, most military-like coach. Just these things, I think that they're all events that we don't have to work out to be together. I think that's the one thing that we've always done since I've been here, is if we want to do something together to build team spirit, it's always involved a workout, and that just feels like work to me, because that's what I've done for the past 5 years, is just work out and teach people how to work out. So it'd be nice to do something outside of the gym. I think that's probably the best thing. Is I think in the recent kind of times, is every social event we've done has been at work, so it doesn't feel like we are off. It doesn't feel like a team building event. It feels like a work event. It feels like we have to be somewhere where we don't want to be on the day off or whatever it is. So I think something specifically outside of work would be a great way of building team spirit and making sure we're all motivated for the week and things like that. Also setting a theme for the week or goals for the week. Hey, who's got a client they want to see do this, that, and the other. Just these things to know that the coaches around you are actually going out of their way to go and help people improve their lives and things like this. I don't want to see coaches just settle for the normal and teach 4 hours a day and not really care about who's in their session. I think other coaches then view that person to be a bit lazy and things like this. So, and that can have an effect on the team overall. So it'd be nice just to see what everyone's goals are for the week, and the goals for their members or close friends within the gym. and it, it can inspire other coaches and make them go, oh, I want this for my member, my client, and how I can work towards that. I think things like this will be really good for building team spirit.